Oh hey YouTube, what's really good? My name is Vivid Color, coach of the South Texas Sableyes, and since I am currently in 4 leagues and I use the exact same intro for all 4 leagues, I'm going to try and start switching it up to get rid of that repetitiveness. I don't want it to get boring or stale, so let's try and make each intro have just a little bit of flair, and let's start that right now. This is the Pokemon Little League, the PLL. We don't fight with fully evolved monsters, we fight with tiny little cute mons. This is week 5. We're going up against Matadillo, coach of the New York LickiLicks, and Matt and I talk a lot of shit to each other, if I'm being honest, so I really want to win because I want to come out on top of the shit-talking exchange. So let's just get into talking about the teams. Now this week we see Matadillo bringing the spicy Helioptile, the Ponyta, the Machop, the Coughing, the Squirtle, and the Ferroseed. Now when I started prepping for this week, I knew he was going to bring the Ponyta, I knew he was going to bring the Ferroseed, and I predicted him to bring the Squirtle to sort of like complete that Water Fire Grass core, but also because I think Squirtle is his only form of removal, and he knows I like to set up sticky webs, and he knows I like to set up rocks. So knowing that he was bringing those 3 Pokemon, or that I predicted him to bring them at least, I brought Nemo, the beautiful Alolan Meowth, who I think was incredibly undervalued in drafting. I think that it was placed way too low, and I think it's really, really good. If you haven't watched my draft breakdown, I picked this thing very close to last. There will be a card up here that'll take you to my draft breakdown if you haven't seen it, and there will also be a link in the description down below. I'll probably forget to put the card up here, but if I don't, it'll be up there. We're also bringing Afterlife, the Drifloon, which has done absolutely nothing this entire league. I think it might have a singular kill under its belt, but this week my entire strategy revolves around sort of, I'm going to call it a Volt Shot core. Most people call it Volt Turn because it's typically Volt Switch U-turn, but I'm going to call it Volt Shot because it's Volt Switch Parting Shot, and I think that also sounds cool. So my strategy this week is to parting shot out of situations or Volt Switch out of them and go into either my Drifloon or my Jangmo-O, whichever is preferable, and start setting up and sweeping, because I think that Drifloon and Jangmo-O can both 100% entirely sweep through Matadillo's team. Drifloon gets coverage against everything. It also just has like what I would consider an unfair set this week. And as for Jangmo-O, it just resists a lot of Matadillo's offensive pressure, and it can set up with Dragon Dance to outspeed and then plow through his entire team. So just giving you a little insight, that is my strategy this week. We are also bringing Lemon Drop, the Cutie Fly, which is adorable, and I think it's one of the workhorses of this team. It makes sense that it is banned in Little Cup because it could pass Quiver Dances in Little Cup, but we can't baton pass those here, but we can set up not stealth webs, that's not a thing. We can set up sticky webs and also set up with Quiver Dance and maybe get sweeps off. We've done it 1 week, we've gotten a sweep off. I just think this thing has been really, really good on my team. I think it has been, like I said, one of the workhorses, something that I think has put in a lot of work each week. We're bringing the Jangmo-O because, like I said before, it resists a lot of Matt's offensive pressure, and its nickname is Nugget, in case you're wondering, and I thought that was absolutely adorable. I think this is the first time I'm bringing it. I should have brought it week 1 against Sam. Had I prepped better, I would have isolated that as well, and who knows, maybe we would be 4-0 right now instead of 3-1, and we would be playing for 5-0. That's beside the point. Let's keep going with our team. We're also bringing Socket the Elekid, which, like I said, it's just a really fast Volt Switch mod. This week we have a Choice Specs instead of a Life Orb because Matt actually doesn't have an immunity to Volt Switch, so we just get to Volt Switch on actual everything, and I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be very effective, and just looking at his team, the only thing that I think even resists, okay, there are 2 things. The Helioptile and the Ferroseed both resist Volt Switch, but after that, Volt Switch is gonna chunk or OHKO a lot of these Pokemon, and I think it's going to be great. The final mon we're bringing is sort of like the jack of all trades when it comes to support. We're bringing Trillo the Anorith. I've brought this thing a couple weeks. It hasn't really been living up to expectations so far, but we're bringing a knockoff Rock Blast, Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin set. So we can set up hazards, we can get rid of hazards, we can knock off items, and we can chunk things with Rock Blast. I don't think Anorith is ever going to be the MVP of a battle, but I'm at least hoping that one day it can do something kind of productive. But that being said, you know what we're about to do. We're about to react to this battle because this is a reacts channel, and let's just get right into it. All right, so I will start off with a compliment to Matadillo. At least his character does not have the most basic trainer clothes on, because for some reason that annoys me a lot. But that being said, take off that stupid hat. Those hats do not look good on your character. They need to go. All right, so Matt leads with Dijon, the Helioptile here. I predicted him to lead with Ferroseed, so I led with Nemo so I could taunt. He ends up switching out here, I think predicting me to go for Fake Out on turn 1 so he could get some like Iron Barbs chip damage, but I just went for the parting shot because I was expecting him to go for Volt Switch and be Choice Scarfed. I knew I could live one, so I figured why not just like stay in, see what he switches into, and parting shot out. We actually get to parting shot on the Pharaoh Seed, which I think is pretty dope. So I'm going to go into Cutie Fly here. I know he's going to predict me to set up sticky webs, so I'm going to stay in and go for the heckin' bamboozle. Hidden Power of Fire, and we chunk this thing for a lot of damage on, what is this, turn 2, turn 3? We chunk this thing. That's what's important. He goes for knockoff here, which is sort of like a middle ground play. I expected him to either try and kill it with, I think this thing gets Gyro Ball, or potentially just set up Stealth Rocks. Like, those were my predictions. This turn, I know he has to switch out, or he doesn't have to, but I predict him to, because another Hidden Power Fire would kill this thing, and it would die sort of like unnecessarily early. So I go for Sticky Webs. Squirtle is actually the perfect switch here, because if I go for Sticky Webs, he can rapid spin them away, or if I go for Hidden Power Fire, he just eats it up. So it was a really good switch. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but either way, I still probably would have set up webs. Now here I predict him to go for Rapid Spin, so I go out into my Afterlife, and he actually goes for Fake Out. He told me after the battle that was sort of a mental misstep, because he knew that he couldn't Rapid Spin on me, so he clicked Fake Out, but he also forgot Fake Out was normal. Now this turn, I didn't really care if he stayed in or switched out. I was just gonna go for Thunder Wave, because this is a really scummy, like, okay, hear me out. This set is scummy. I think it's Thunder Wave, Calm Mind, Hex, and Recycle, holding a berry juice, obviously. So I get that Unburden boost, I get fast, I get to recycle, I get like infinite healing, I get to Calm Mind up potentially, and I just get to Thunder Wave and kill things, right? I don't think it's as scummy as the Will-O-Wisp subset. So that's my piece. Either way, we paralyze the Pharaoh Seed on the switch in, and then we just knock it out with Hex, because this thing's special attack is actually not bad. Now Helioptile is the perfect counter to Afterlife. It actually is, because it's immune to Hex and it's immune to Thunder Wave. So I have to switch out here. I go into Elekid predicting an electric type attack. He actually goes for Dark Pulse, which makes sense, but I think the electric type attack just makes more sense here, because it would, both of these things would probably knock out the Drifloon. Now, I see how much damage that does. I gauge that I can live another one. I go for Psychic, just wanting to be able to put this thing in 2-hit KO range. The second Dark Pulse takes me to 3, but really, Elekid outspeeds his entire team now 100%. We have webs up, so I'm not even that worried about it. Like, the Squirtle gets priority in Aqua Jet, but I don't really care. So I just go for the second Psychic, trying to take out the Dijon, because really, once the Dijon is gone, Afterlife sweeps his entire team. We go for the second Psychic. It pops the berry juice on his first place. We have to switch out because this thing gets Aqua Jet. So I'm going to go right out into, I believe, Afterlife again, just because it looks like a pretty safe switch here. So it is. Okay. So we go into Afterlife. He's going to reveal the Aqua Jet here. We take this damage pretty well. We show him that, like, okay, your Squirtle's not going to be able to do much damage. Now, this is, I think, where I make a really, really bad over prediction. And I switch Afterlife out, predicting him to go out and to just, like, literal anything to eat up a Thunder Wave. Like, I think I actually predicted him to go out into Dijon, predicting me to Thunder Wave. I go onto my Anorith and just let it die to a Waterfall. Now, do I think Waterfall is maybe a little bit of an awkward play, seeing as the Aqua Jet did almost no damage and I could just Thunder Wave and set it from there? Yes, but also, I don't know. Anorith dies and it's just my stupid over prediction. Like, I could have just made a middle of the ground play and I didn't. So we go on to Jingmo here, knowing it forces out the Squirtle, even if the Squirtle has Ice Beam. I go for a Dragon Dance, which is very greedy. I could have just gone for an attack here. I did not need to D-Dance, but I D-Dance. Now I have to immediately switch out, because if the Coughing has Will-O-Wisp, it just sort of ends Jangmo-O. Like, had I been Lumberry, is that, I think that's it, Lumberry, the one that cures all statuses, then I could have stayed in and just went for another D-Dance and dropped the Coughing, but I didn't. So I go on to Nemo here, predicting Will-O-Wisp, because I don't mind if Nemo gets burned. He has absolutely no physical attacks. He actually goes for Sludge Bomb, which means I probably could have stayed in with Nugget and just started sweeping, but we're gonna go for Parting Shot on this turn, knowing that we're gonna outspeed the Coughing 100% of the time, and then we can just lower stats of whatever switches in next. I can almost guarantee you right now that I'm going to go out into Elekid, because I know 100% it outspeeds this thing. Here you go. See, this is what I was talking about in sort of like the beginning of this battle. When I built this team, I just wanted to be able to, like, have so much momentum. Like, I have all these pivot mons here. I go for the Volt Switch, predicting him to switch. He doesn't. We get to take this thing out. Now I'm in a position where Drifloon actually just wins the game. Like, Drifloon actually just ends the game. I'm gonna go on to Nemo here, because Nemo outspeeds his entire team. Like, I think the only thing that has a chance is this thing, the Bunsen. I think the Ponyta has a chance to speed tie if it's Choice Scarfed max speed. I think that's the only way it has a chance to speed tie Nemo, because I think Nemo hits a speed of 19, which is one, like, Nemo hits a speed of 19, Elekid hits a speed of 20. My team is so unbelievably fast, and I have this unburdened Drifloon on my team. Like, I don't know. I just really think my plan this week was good. So I go for the parting shot knowing I'm going to outspeed it. There's a very minimal chance he speed ties. He goes for the flare blitz. I know after a parting shot, I'm good to live one. It's gonna pop my berry juice. We get that sweet, sweet unburden boost. We go back up to full health, and this burn, I think, is actually really good because it means if he has toxic on a Mon anywhere, he cannot toxic me. Like, he cannot just poison me to sort of whittle me down. So now I'm burned. I take, look at this, 1 damage a turn from the burn. I love being burned at this point. I think when it happened, I was kind of like, oh no. And then I was just like, oh, this is awesome. Because if he had toxic on anything, he could have just sort of countered this entire set by toxicking me. I'm going to go for the Thunder Wave. And this is sort of where I say like, all right, so this team is scummy. Not this team, but this set is like, it's not a good set. Like, it's not a family friendly set. It's really not. So we go for the Thunder Wave. It gets fully parried. I feel bad about it, but I mean, that's what happens when you go for Thunder Wave and you're faster. He goes for Morning Sun this turn, which I find really odd. It just gives me a free turn to recycle. Like, he could have still been applying pressure by going for Flare Blitz, but I guess the thought process he was having was, if he goes for Flare Blitz, he takes recoil, and then I can probably just take him out with a Hex, and he knows that this Pokemon is really good and still has merit. So we go for a recycle. We go for a Calm Mind on the next turn, and now we're in such good position. Like, we have our berry back. We're right? Yes. Okay. I just had to make sure that we were in the right turn. We have our berry back. We have a Calm Mind up. This thing's paralyzed. I know right now that if we can't OHKO it, or like not OHKO it because it already has a little bit of chip damage, but if we can't take it out from this range, it's very, very close, and he absolutely cannot kill me. So this turn, he switches out into his Squirtle. Makes a lot of sense. It really does. And I'm just going to recycle my berry because I feel like that is the best play right now. I don't want my health to drop low because I know he has priority on his team that can just come in and sort of like get around the fact that I'm Calm Mind. Like, my defenses aren't great. Like, I have the spread this week was really weird. Like, I have investment and I think almost every stat except special attack. Like, everything has some investment. So there's like HP investment, speed investment, defense investment, and SPDF investment. There's just no special attack investment. So he switches into his Squirtle. We know we outspeed. We go for the Thunder Wave. He can't realistically try and Aqua Jet us down. The Waterfall takes us down to our Berry Juice range. Now this thing is paralyzed. We outspeed it. We can just take a turn and set up another Calm Mind, or we can just go for Hex here. I opt to go for Hex. It's gonna knock this thing out. I really didn't think it would. I thought it would be a 2-hit KO from this range because Squirtle's actually relatively bulky, but then I forgot we really only get 1 Eviolite user per team. It was just part of the rules of this draft league. We can only bring Eviolite on 1 Pokemon to sort of avoid like infinite stall. So his Squirtle wasn't as bulky as it was when I was running Calc, so it makes sense that it dies. He switches into Coughing here. I'm gonna go for a Thunder Wave because knowing that this thing is Thunder Waved, his whole team is Thunder Wave now, I believe. I think he has this. I think he just has this and the Ponyta and 1 other left. I'm not entirely sure at this point, but I know that. Okay, so he has 1 off left. He has this, the Ponyta, and something I don't remember off the top of my head, but in my head, I'm just like, okay, if I paralyze the rest of his team, he absolutely can't win. There's no way. Even if Drifloon doesn't go the distance, like, he can't win if the rest of his team is paralyzed. So I paralyze it. I go for another Calm Mind, knowing that this thing is special. And then at this point, it's just, all right, so we're gonna be at double speed as soon as we click recycle. Like, we're at double speed right now. We recycle, we get our berry back, we drop double speed because that's how Unburden works. We consume the berry again, go back up to full health, and we're at double speed again. We're at +2 special defense. We're at +2 special attack. All of his team, okay, the last Pokemon he has is Machop. I just remember that randomly. Most of his team is Status, and it's just so good. So here I'm gonna go for the Hex. I know it's gonna take this thing out because this thing's SPDF is not good. We're at +2, it's paralyzed. Hex's base power when you're paralyzed is like 130, which is bananas. He's gonna go out into Happy Meal the Machop. Now, here I have sort of an interesting decision. I can try to paralyze it or I can just attack it. Machop has pretty good natural bulk, so I know I'm not going to OHKO it with Hex, but I also don't think I can risk paralyzing it because if it is Guts and then he gets a crit knockoff on me, we lose the game. I think, like, even if he got a crit knockoff here, we lose, or we don't lose the game, but we just don't get to continue our sweep, and I'm trying to continue this sweep. So we go for Hex. It is a pretty safe 2-hit KO. We pick up the 2-hit KO, and we know 100% now that we have this game in the bag because his last Pokemon is a paralyzed Ponyta at not full health that's going to have its speed lowered on top of already being paralyzed when it enters the battlefield. We're at +2 speed, +2 special defense, +2 special attack. And this was the week that Drifloon really showed what it can do. I mean, on top of Drifloon on top of getting to show off Drifloon, I also got to, I think, prove that Alolan Meowth was vastly undercosted in this draft. It was tier 4. Like I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. I've reshot this video like 17 times at this point because I kept coughing randomly. Coughing. We just knocked out a coughing. That's not even a good joke. I don't even know why I mentioned it. The moral of the story is, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but Meowth was tier 4. That's the lowest tier that a Pokemon existed in. I think it could have been tier 3 easily, just because it's so versatile. It does so much. Like Meowth and Elekid are why I won this game, even though Drifloon sort of like pulled the sweep off. Like it was all the shifting around that really did it. And I don't know. I mean, I really liked the strategy I had going into this week. It worked very well. It was maybe not the least scummy thing in the world, but it wasn't the most scummy thing in the world, so I hope you don't hate me for that. But that being said, we moved to 4-1 in the PLL. I'm incredibly excited about it. If you are as well, please go ahead and leave a like on this video and let me know that you like me and you don't mind that sometimes I set up with Drifloons and get sweeps. It was a plan, you know, play to win, or pay to play. I don't know, there's a saying somewhere. I pay to play. I bought all of these sets from Verlisify. Facts. If you're new here, please go ahead and consider clicking that sub button. It would mean the absolute most to me, and you would be able to keep up with all of these fun Draft League battles. I plan on releasing some new content soon, I swear. I just have to record it on a weekend and edit it over the week. I promise it's coming. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you think that I was scummy, you can call me actual trash, and I promise I will even heart your comment. I'll respond to comments for like the first few days. I'll heart all the comments that are calling me trash. I will. That being said, I've tried to record this, like I said, 17 times. Like, this video is probably going to be 16 minutes, maybe. I've been here for like an hour and a half because I just kept like getting these weird hiccups. I kept breathing awkwardly. I don't know. It was a weird situation, but I'm kind of done here and I gotta leave. Bye. So tell me something.